Good evening, humans. Tyrannosaurus Moth here, and tonight we're taking a look at the WWE Legends Elite Collection Jake the Snake Roberts. I was pretty excited when I heard this one was coming out last year, mainly because Jake the Snake was my first favorite wrestler, eventually replaced by The Undertaker, so I was very conflicted when they had their feud way back in the early 90s. But regardless, always a place in my heart for Jake the Snake. So this is a really cool representation, and I guess that being said, let's go over it. Let's do this. Kicking things off, talking about Jake's aesthetics. Overall, it looks pretty good. However, in terms of the body size, this looks a little slimmer than I ever knew Jake the Snake to be. I think that's partially the bucks that Mattel uses for these lines, so it is what it is. But it still looks pretty good. The head looks a little large. I mean, maybe that's just me. You can weigh in the comments. But it works, it's just a little awkward. And speaking of the head, mine has a couple splotches of teal paint, which seems to come from the pants. I don't know how that happened, but it is what it is. I could probably easily remove that, so I'm going to try to at some point. In addition to that extra paint, they have the chest hair painted on, which is a very interesting look, but technically accurate. And the armbands are painted on, which looks kind of cheap, to be honest. It's a little sad. A little bit of molding would have gone a long way, or overlays, like something to slide on. I'm kind of guessing possibly Articulated Icons Hands and Wrap Pack wraps might actually work there, but I haven't tried it yet, so maybe not. As for the trunks, we have red and teal ones as opposed to the green and purple from the original figure from way back in the day. I like both looks, so I'm happy with either. And then we got our boots with some snake print, as he always had snake print boots, and it's kind of a green and yellowish color. And then I guess going for the likeness in the face, looks pretty accurate. I'm assuming they're using some sort of face scanning technology or something like that for these figures at this point. And yeah, it looks pretty good. Moving on to accessories, Jake the Snake doesn't come with too many, which is somewhat to be expected. A lot of wrestlers aren't going to have, or certainly wrestling figures aren't going to have a whole ton of accessories. But we do get a decent amount here, and it's appropriate for the character of Jake the Snake. So, real quickly, we got the most obvious and apparent is the snake. It's a python, I believe. It's what Jake would have at the ring. This is just in green, so it doesn't necessarily look like Damien or any of the other snakes he had during his run. In addition to that, we get the bag that he would generally carry his snakes to the ring in. I don't think this snake will fully fit in. It might. I actually haven't tried it yet. But it's there for effect, and you can put a number of things in there to simulate the full snake being in there. And then we just get some hands. So we get some grippy hands for grappling and holding items. You can do pretty much anything in there. And then two pointy fingers for victory or pointing at people. And that's it. So for articulation, Jake the Snake here is relatively straightforward, as a lot of modern wrestling figures are, though they are starting to make some more advancements, especially with what I've been seeing with the AEW figures and stuff like that. So I'm excited to get some of those eventually and see how those work. But for the task at hand with Jake the Snake, as always, we're going top to bottom. Getting back to zero. So for the head, on a ball peg, so you can look down pretty well. Can't get any up because of the hair. Can go side to side, not too far. Again, the hair is kind of a hindrance here. Shoulders are just your standard ball, so you can go all the way around. And you got a hinge, so you can come out to your T-pose. You get a bicep swivel. You got single jointed elbows, which come to exactly 90, so could hope for a little bit more there, but it is what it is. And then you have your wrists on a peg, so they swivel around, and they got a horizontal hinge for all of the hands, both sets. Ab, just simple ab crunch, so not too far forward, not too far back. Serviceable, but nothing spectacular. Waist is just swivel, go all the way around. Looks a little awkward all the way to the side, but again, you can cover that up. Your hips come out pretty far. Some decent splits. Not that Jake the Snake needs to really do a lot of splits. And then you got your thigh cut, which is pretty high, which is nice. And it hides it a little bit better, I tend to find. Knees are double jointed. You come up pretty far. Legs are a little long, so it's kind of awkward that his foot comes to mid-back. But again, still works. Then you get your boot cut. And your feet. You can point really well, and not too much on the forward, just a little bit. And you actually do have a little bit of rocker there, not too much. And that's because this is something that, again, I haven't really seen a lot because I don't have a lot of wrestling figures yet at the current standing. But it's just kind of a, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. It's not really a peg. There's kind of a rectangular piece that goes down the foot, and it looks like it gives for a little bit of rocker, but nothing like we're going to see from Hasbro or some other companies. And that's the articulation. Alright y'all, let's have some fun with some size comparisons to see how Jake the Snake sizes up. So we're going to start off with our standard 6-inch, the requisite Marvel Legends from Hasbro. And then moving on from that, let's move on to something completely different. So let's look at Storm Collectibles Reptile and Masters of the Universe Classics Ratlore. Don't know why that was escaping my mind. With the extended head, obviously, his head would be probably about here. Actually, they're probably about the same size if we don't have the extension on. And then, let's go on to some old school stuff. So let's look at old school original Ratlore and Snake Man from Mega Man series. Finally, let's look at some NECA stuff. So let's put them next to our City Hunter Predator and Kevin Nash as the Super Shredder, who doesn't even fit in frame. Alright, and for a wrestling comparison, the one other wrestling figure I have at the moment, which is the Undertaker. I got this for a custom. So actually these scale really well. I don't think this came out that long ago. I'm actually not sure because, again, I haven't been keeping up with it, and I got it for a custom, so I wasn't aware of it when it came out. And then lastly, me as an articulated icons ninja, excuse me. And that'll do it for Jake the Snake. So these are my final thoughts. It's a pretty solid figure, relatively standard for what Mattel has been doing with their wrestling line for what appears like years now. But that's not a bad thing. If it isn't broke, don't fix it. So they've done a good job. Likeness is good. Like I said, some minor issues with the paint apps and stuff like that, but I mean, easily overlooked. Nostalgia is a major point here for me, and I think they did a great job. So if you're looking for it, it is still available on Target's website, so I'll link to that in the description. As always, I usually say comments. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching the video, being with me for this. And if you like what you saw, please like the video, leave a comment if you got anything to say, anything to add. Tell me what wrestling figures you're excited for. It's a lot coming out this year. I have a couple of pre-orders in. Certainly one for Luchasaurus for obvious reasons, even though I haven't seen him wrestle yet. But I'm definitely going to look into that. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care of yourself. Peace.